Hi and welcome everyone to Season 5 of the Ruin Hammer Live Show, where we talk all things One New Zealand Warriors. Thank you all for joining us. Season 2024, it's underway. So tonight we're going to review the Warriors Round 1 game against the Sharks, take a look at the other NRL Round 1 results, and preview the Warriors Round 2 game against the Storm. Joining me tonight, as usual, is my good mate and co-host Warrior Roo. Rob, how are you, mate? And happy birthday for last Saturday. How was your birthday weekend?
Yeah, thanks, mate. G'day to everyone watching as well. Always good to be here chatting footy. As you said, had a birthday on Saturday, another year older. A few more grey hairs in there as well. But I had a fantastic weekend. It was awesome to catch up with you on Friday and on Saturday night for a bit of birthday dinner. How good was the Brazilian barbecue? If any of you guys have never tried it, make sure you go to Navala Churrascaria, the Eagle Street in Brisbane. It's a fantastic feed, all the red meat you can eat and all the trimmings as well. So, that was awesome to do that with yourself and the family on Saturday night. Had a great day with the kids. They surprised me with one of those cheesecake shop caramel mud cakes, which is absolutely my favorite. And I tell you, it didn't last too long. The kids were getting into it. They kept because it's got that really sickly, syrupy kind of stuff on the top, of the code just kept coming up and going like that. So there wasn't much of that left, but had a as I said, fantastic weekend really, and got a couple of prezzies. Got that Warriors long sleeve jersey, kind of throwback 95 jersey. So brilliant. The only I guess downside to it all was probably that result on Friday night, which we will get into.
We will.
Otherwise, can't complain. It's fantastic. How you been, mate? Anyway, all good?
Yeah, good, mate. It was good to get up north for the weekend. Friday night we caught up. We watched the game together. Mark Tukey's birthday, so it was great that we could be there at the Parkwood Tavern with Tukes and Rachel to celebrate his birthday.
I'm lucky enough to share my birthday with Warriors royalty. I meant to say, of course, me and Big Tukes are born on the same day, and also Karina Brown from the Warriors women's team in 2020. So happy birthday to you, legends, as well. Great day to be born, March 9.
Absolutely. And then, Saturday night, as you said, was fantastic. Dinner at Navala Churrascaria at Riverside there at Brisbane. Mate, I think I was still digesting that food. Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday, there's a lot to eat. But I will tell you that I did come home and I have recreated the pineapple with the cinnamon. I now know how to do that. So Danny and I have been doing that, eating some of that for the last 2 days as well. It's absolutely delicious.
The reason that they give you that is apparently it settles your stomach after consuming all that meat. Yeah, apparently that's the idea behind the pineapple with the cinnamon.
What it is?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, okay. It's delicious. Absolutely delicious.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so, mate, good weekend. Back into it now, as you said. How about we get into tonight's show? Before we do, I just invite you, if you haven't already done so, to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page to show your support of the streaming content we do create. I'd also like to invite our wonderful Patreon subscribers on also Patreon subscribers whose donations and support enables us to upgrade our visual presentation here via StreamYard to bring you guys all the content and guests we all enjoy so much. Let's get into it, mate.
Speaking of Patreon, great to see Sean and Malcolm, a couple of our gold Patreons watching. So shout out to you boys. Great to have you back, Malcolm. Hope the studies went well. Before we do start, though, just a reminder to everyone that has tuned in, the reason that we do go live is to get the involvement of you guys watching. So please, as we move through the discussion points tonight, join the conversation, leave your comments. Please be aware, though, that we do have current and ex-players and their families that watch this webcast. So please keep your comments respectful and refrain from making them personal. Okay. As we said, touched on, round 1, done and dusted. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at the round 1 loss to the Sharks at Go Media Stadium on Friday night. We kicked off our home season at the Fortress. Unfortunately, it wasn't on Friday, but in front of a near capacity crowd. And unfortunately, it wasn't the way that we wanted to start the year. giving up a 12-0 lead to go down 16 points to 12 to the Sharks. The Sharks' 16 points came from Ramian, Mulatalo, and Talakai tries. Hines 2 from 3. And the Warriors 12 points. Vanua Blake, Metcalf, and Johnson 2 from 2. And I think I said to you as we walked out of the tavern, who took the jam out of your donut? The Warriors did. Wasn't the greatest way to start the year after we sprinted out of the blocks in like the first 20 minutes. We dominated the field position. We looked $1,000,000. We put on a couple of quick tries. And then we weren't able to further capitalize. I remember saying to you, we should have been up at least 24-0 at halftime. The Sharks were able to work their way back into the game, crucially getting tries either side of halftime. And boy, oh boy, that second half was a real tough watch for us, wasn't it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, mate. Before I get into my thoughts, I just want to give a birthday shout out to Brad Inger. Happy birthday, Brad.
Happy birthday, legend.
So
yeah,
I see him in the comments there. So yeah, just wanted to give him a shout out. Yeah, mate. Like you said, it was a tough contest. It was highlighted by the low scoring. There's only 28 points scored in total. As you said, our opening 20 minutes was pretty good, putting a lot of pressure on the Sharks' defence. Our first try to AFB, Egan getting down to dummy half quickly and just putting AFB one-on-one close to the line. No one stops him from there. Metcalf's try was just individual brilliance. Acceleration off the mark, speed, step. That was a great try. And as you said, at the 30-minute mark, we had 85% possession. We needed to have converted that possession into more points. Like you said, we really should have been up 24 or 30-0 at that point.
at least.
Yeah, got to give it to the Sharkies, though, mate. They were out on their feet in that first 20, but they hung in there. And when they got that momentum swing in their favour, off our errors and some ill discipline, they capitalised. As for our boys, I mean, I know it's a hard result to take in, but there are some positives to take out of it. That first 20 or 30
definitely.
minutes where we had the 85% possession, it showed once again we can control possession and momentum for big chunks of time in a game. I thought our fifth tackle option choices were poor at times, particularly inside the Sharks' 20-metre zone. We kept resorting back to that crash and barge play that was synonymous with us back in 2021 and 2022.
That was awkward to watch, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was, because we had good shape out the back, but we just weren't looking to spread the ball wide or ask the Sharks any hard questions. We thought we'd be able to get them going up the middle, and it just wasn't happening.
Too many crash balls, face balls at the line, pressure passes, which resulted in quite a few drop balls, particularly from, unfortunately, from Edge. I'm having a mental blank.
Jackson Ford. Jackson Ford, yeah.
Jackson Ford, the man.
Yeah, and that's right. I mean, maybe the fact that we were using barge plays goes back to a lack of confidence in the plays we were putting on, because we weren't getting the points apart from that AFB try and the Metcalf individual brilliance. We weren't getting points in that first 20 to 30 minutes where they were using a little bit of shape going out to both our edges. So maybe that second half, it was just a lack of confidence thing. It's like, okay, that's not working. Let's try this. I don't know. I mean, again, it is only round one. Defensively, again, I think we showed some resilience and toughness at different periods in that game. But in the end, it was kind of just lapses in concentration and execution here and there that let the Sharks get some tries. But it's all stuff that's fixable. And no doubt Webby will be working on those things at training this week. Just want to highlight a couple of things, mate. Freddie Lustig, I thought he filled in rather well when he came on with Egan. He doesn't have the attacking prowess that Egan does, but he does a job for us in that hooking role. Contributed with some decent service out of dummy half, and he defended well in the middle, making 30 tackles. And it was kind of when Lussick was on and Egan was off that we were doing the crash play kind of stuff.
Yeah, we sort of lost our way a bit there, didn't we? We lost a bit of shape, and that's it did start to go pear-shaped there. You're right.
It did. Jackson Ford, you mentioned him before, certainly not one of his best games. We have said in the past he does have a drop ball in him. He defended well with 38 tackles, and he did run for 110 run meters, but his handling errors were costly.
bad
Yeah,
times.
it was. It was in a period in the game where we looked to be capitalising on that 85% possession, and I think he came up with 2 drop ball errors around the same time. And it's stuff that he's got to really stamp out of his game, especially when you consider there's guys like Jazz Tavanga playing in reserve grade and Jacob Lubben waiting in the wings, and we got Murata Niokore still to come back from injury. So
a lot of competition for spots there.
Absolutely, he's he made every post a winner in 2023, Jacko, but he needs to really work on his ball handling because it does let him down at times. Luke Metcalf, mate, what did you think of him? I thought he showed some promise. A guy playing only his 20th top grade game. He did make 20 tackles. He had 3 tackle busts and offload. Just contributed with 50 kick meters and that very good try where he showed some great vision and acceleration to put him into space. A little bit of a mixed bag, though. Still a little bit of indecision around some of his support play stuff. How did you see Metcalf's game?
Yeah, I mean, look, with that try, he showed absolutely what he can do, and that's his strength, is that individual brilliance. And yeah, I was kind of hoping that it would be that kind of player, that kind of individual brilliance that would steal it for us at the end, because that was looking like the only way that we were going to get some points, where we sort of lacked that structure at the back end of the game. Yeah, as you said, started off the game really well, but in that second half, I felt he went missing a little bit. There were a couple of times where he looked tentative on the last tackle, like he had the ball in hands. He didn't know whether to run or pass. And there's one time where even, I think AFB had to put in a kick. Because he sort of got the ball and then passed it on. And we know that the kicking game is probably not his greatest strength. He did a little bit of kicking, I think, more so in that first half. But yeah, I'm still probably looking to see a bit more from him. And we have to remember he's still very young in his first grade career. Like he's probably only played about 20 odd first grade games.
Yeah, that was his 20th.
20th.
That was his 20th game. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, his game will evolve, and he'll do well playing another year under Sean. But yeah, I mean, I think his second half perhaps let him down a little bit in that game. I thought it was kind of set up for someone like him to do something. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, announced post game that he'd signed a 2-year contract extension worth $500,000 a season with the club. Webby talking glowingly of him pre-game last week. The work he's put in, the extra 6 to 7 kilos he's added to his frame without compromising his speed. So that pretty much just kiboshes your prediction that you came up with in our prediction show, where he
what a surprise! What a surprise! I got a prediction wrong. I normally nail all of those.
No, your predictions, your Nostradamus, when games are happening. Like when you sit back and you kind of predict stuff that's going to happen in the season, you're shocking. But when games are playing out, because you even said to me when we were watching the game on Friday night, the Sharks are going to win here and steal this game. And a couple of seconds later, it's exactly what happened. Yeah. And I hate when you do that. But you're always
hate it too, mate. I hate it too.
You're always on point. Mate, coming off, one thing we did talk about after the game with Tukes was coming off that 2023 season where we had so many players that had career best seasons. To back that up again and improve on top of that is going to be difficult. You have a guy like Sean Johnson who had a career best season in the back end of his career. Fell 1 point short of being Dally a medalist. Really took the game by the took the team by the scruff of the neck last year and led them. We need him to have another season like he did last year for the Warriors to, have the success that we're all anticipating. And similarly, other guys in that squad all played, had career best seasons, and they've got to back that up again. Dallin had a career best season. Rocco Berry really came of age last year. Chance was outstanding.
Wade Egan.
Wade Egan, Adam Fanua-Blake. And as I said, Chance was outstanding. And he was, not that Tane didn't do a good job, and we'll talk about Tane in a little bit on the weekend, but, Chance brings that, he's an international fullback. He brings a little bit more to the game than what Tane does, and not taking anything away from Tane. But these are all factors that we've got to build in. But, a top 4 team from 2023, we are going to be one of the 100 this season where teams will lift when they play us, and Cronulla showed that. Webby and Tohu gave an 11-minute post-match press conference. One thing I love about Webby as a head coach is that he doesn't look for excuses or blame ref decisions or play the blame game. He takes ownership of the result and the circumstances of the game. One thing he did say, he was disappointed with the discipline. A few penalties late in the first half swung that momentum back to the Sharks, and then the second half was a poor start, poor discipline again. He said that the defence, the ruck control just wasn't good enough. They were clunky in the second half, and they tried to win it with the big play rather than getting their flow on and doing what works for them. And I'm sure they're all areas that he'll work on this week in readiness for another hard game against the Storm.
Yeah, does not get any easier. Absolutely, one of the toughest road trips in the game. So we'll get onto that shortly. But the Warriors won all the attacking stats, and they absolutely really should have won the game when you look at that. Like 54% possession, 81% completion rate, 1,968 run meters compared to 1,467 to the Sharks. Post-contact meters, we had the edge over the Sharks. 5 line breaks to 4, 34 tackle breaks to 19. 44.74 average set distance to 38. 9 offloads to their 5. Kick meters, they had it over us in kick meters. So obviously showing our kicking game still has a bit of work to do. 5 forced dropouts to 0. Sean Johnson securing quite a few of those in that second half.
What's your thoughts on the forced dropouts in today's game with the rule change now? It's if it's a short team, it used to be like something we could tick up in the win column because everyone would go for the long dropout, and then you get that set of 6 coming back. But now that we've got the short dropout, they're taking away the penalty if it doesn't go the 10 meters. Do you think the forced dropout is kind of an irrelevant stat nowadays?
Yeah, it's becoming that way. It's far from a given that you get the ball back from it these days. In fact, I'm thinking it more favors the kicking side because they can put the kick where they want to, and they have all the momentum running forward, and to me they have the advantage of getting the ball back. Like we don't have the greatest record of securing those short dropouts, and we you see probably 60 to 70% of the time the kicking team gets the ball back. So it's really kind of swung the other way, whereas like it used to be a great result that you got a dropout. These days, as I said, no given that you will get possession back. So it means you got to be a bit smarter in your kicking game and actually look to try and score rather than just get line dropouts all the time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, similarly, mate. I mean, I grew up in an age where a short dropout was like suicide. You didn't do it. You risk giving the ball back to the opposition 10 metres out. The way the game's played now, and with the defensive structures that teams have in place, they'd much rather defend their line. Teams are more comfortable defending their line from that 10-metre area rather than, working your line backwards. If a team's getting tackled on the 40, you're on the 30, then you're kind of working backwards as they move upfield. It just allows you to have your line set on that goal line for a complete set of 6. So, I mean, it's part of the game now. I don't like the fact that they changed from a penalty to a set of 6. Because
it's your mistake if you can't get it right. You should be punished for that. Yeah,
absolutely. And the punishment should be, the other team can take a kick at goal and get 2 points if you're going to flirt with danger and do that. But I don't
risk
know.
And
they
reward.
Every year they tweak the rules of this game, and as I said, it's a completely different game to the game. I still love it, but it's a completely different game to the game I grew up playing.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say some of the outstanding players. I've got some player stats here that we can just talk about. Obviously, a guy like AFB, there was talk, obviously, pre-season that he's now signed to go to the Sharks, and I think a lot of people were worried that he was just going to phone it in this year. 220 run meters, 61 post-contact, 6 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 2 offloads, 23 tackles and a try, and nearly a try-double with that big run he put in
Yeah,
the
that
second
great
half
run,
there.
wasn't it?
Yeah, he showed that he's all in for the Warriors this season.
Absolutely.
Tohu Harris, another great captain's knock, 237 metres, 82 post contact, 37 tackles. Mitch Barnett playing in the front row. I thought he was quite good for us as well with 174 run metres, 54 post contact, tackle break and offload, 26 tackles. Dylan Walker coming on from the bench. You always know what you're going to get from D Walks. He's just all intensity and energy, 159 run metres, 38 post contact, 37 tackles. And one guy I do want to single out because he came under a lot of scrutiny when he first came into first grade, and he dropped out of first grade and he's fought his way back, is Rocco Berry. I thought Rocco Berry was outstanding in the centres for us. 125 run metres, 40 post contact, but it was the 24 tackles that he made in defence that I thought was quite...
Yeah. The try saver on Talakai was outstanding. Absolutely chopped him down.
Yeah. And then our back five, mate, all of our back five all ran for over 100 metres. And we spoke about Tane briefly before. Mate, I thought he did an outstanding job. He ran for 204 metres. He doesn't have the size that Chance has. He's quite small in stature. But, mate, he broke the first tackle every time he ran. He was elusive every time he ran. Wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He was fantastic. I love Tane. He just looks, without making a clean break, he just looks really dangerous in attack the whole time. Like he just ducks under tackles. He weaves. He's elusive. He's pretty safe under the high ball as well. So I've got, I'm a big fan of Tane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then our DWZ on the wing and Marcelo on the wing, they ran for 151, 105 metres respectively. As I said, Rocco with 125 run metres and Roger, true to form, 173 run metres playing in the centres. They did a lot of work, that back five, for us, I thought. Mate, what's your take on the halves? Metcalf, 72 run metres, 3 tackle breaks, 19 tackles, 1 try. Sean Johnson, 113 run metres, 1 tackle break, 20 tackles, 500 kick metres. What was your take on them? I thought there was a little bit of hesitancy and indecision with some of their decision making on the weekend, on Friday night. Sean's kicking game was good. He kicked to the corners well, but just a little bit of indecision with some of their decision making processes.
Yeah, I mean, they looked great in that first 20, 30 minutes. That second half, as you said, the hesitancy was there. You could particularly see that with Metcalf. A couple of times I thought we got a little bit kick happy. Sean was putting in a lot of kicks. I think the majority of those dropouts forced were in that second half, and it was almost like we were out of ideas. And he just thought, we'll dribble one into the in-goal area and kind of hope for the best. And at times it sort of felt like there wasn't like a plan around it because there wasn't that many chases.
Correct.
So it was almost like he was kicking for himself. But look, they got a bit of work to do for next week, but as I said, they're quality players. We know what they're capable of. So they'll no doubt improve.
Hopefully.
Hopefully,
mate. Yeah, mate. Your Ruin Hammer Player of the Year points. We're going to do the same as what we did last year. We'll both give a 3-2-1, and then we'll combine them for a combined total for each game. Your 3-2-1 for this week's game?
Yeah, 3 points. Went to AFB, mate. He was fantastic, enormous. All those run meters. We went through his stats before, like everything we just touched on. Like anyone who thought he was going to phone it in this year. I've got another thing coming. He was outstanding. Almost scored one of the tries of the season in like the fourth game of the season with that massive run upfield. But yeah, mate, we're going to miss this. We're going to miss him. He's massive. Mitch Barnett, I really liked what he brought. He came up with a couple of big plays as well. He forced that error right on the Sharks line as well to give us a shot in the final 10 minutes of the game there. I think I thought he came up with some big plays, was really consistent. He got my 2 votes. And my 1 vote went to Tane, as I just touched on. A big fan of Tane. He looks so dangerous, and I just can't wait to see him in open space and see what he can do because he's just almost there. He's almost like he beats the first man every time, and just looks like a hard little bugger to tackle.
Absolutely, yeah, he does. Yeah, my 3-2-1. I gave 3 points to Tohu. I thought just absolutely brilliant. A good captain's knock. Once again, played the full 80 minutes and was in everything for us. Real leader on the field. I gave my 2 points to Adam Fanua-Blake for the same reasons that you gave him 3. Just outstanding. Did everything that we asked him. And I gave my 1 point to Rocco Berry. I just thought Rocco was solid in the centres. His defensively was very good. He looked strong when he was running the ball. I gave him my 1 point, which means our rankings for this week was Adam Fanua-Blake walks away with 5 points. Tohu gets 3, Mitch Barnett 2, and 1 to Tane Tuapiki and Rocco Berry. So we'll be adding to that every week with our player of the match points.
Dean Bell medal.
Yeah, Dean Bell medal, Mike Doreen medal, whatever we want to call it. We should call it the Brandy Alexander medal and get him to reluctantly present it at the end of the year.
He would be thrilled. He would love to do that.
I'll just quickly touch on our pathways and New South Wales Cup. New South Wales Cup kicked off their season at Go Media Stadium in the curtain race to the main game against the Newtown Jets. The Warriors 28 over Newtown Jets 24. Scorers for the Warriors, Ed Cossey, Graham Taufa, Harris Tavita, Ali Leatua, Geronimo Doyles. Harris Tavita kicked 4 from 6 goals. They kicked off their season with a come-from-behind victory over Newtown. Warriors did lead 26 early before the Jets took a 24-20 lead with 10 minutes remaining, and then it was the power of Ali Leatua, who levelled the scores at 24 all in the 76th minute, then provided the try assist for Geronimo Doyle to score the match winner in the final minute of the match in front of their home fans at Go Media Stadium. Chanel Harris Tavita, Tamati Martin, and Ali Leatua all pushing their claims for first grade. Yeah, should Webby need them? And just quickly on the pathways, Harold Matts, they played the Steelers, the Illawarra Steelers. The Warriors 26 over the Steelers 16. After a slow start to the season, the Harold Matts lost their first couple of matches, but they've won 3 straight now to climb into 7th on the ladder. So good, congratulations to those boys. The SG Ball, they had a 32-24 loss to the Steelers. The Steelers have only lost 1 game this year, so good result for the Warriors. They still remain in finals contention. They're 7th on the ladder. And the Jersey Flag kicked off their season opener. They went down to a slick Sharks outfit, 36-10.
Mate, as an old school league fan, isn't it good to see the Steelers still in there?
Yeah, mate.
Of course. When you see their logo pop up with the bloke holding the big hammer and everything, I love it. I used to really like the Steelers back in the day. Out of the goal. Yeah.
Some great players came out of that Steelers system too.
Heaps really good players. Most of those great Dragons players from the late 90s, early 2000s, 2010s were from the Illawarra system. So
absolutely,
their legacy lives on, of course.
It does.
The remainder of round 1, following the Las Vegas season opener a week ago. Now, look, it is only round 1, but geez, how about those upsets, mate? If you got all the tips, either you're the real Nostradamus or you absolutely know nothing about footy.
I got 4.
Tipster's nightmare. Thursday night was the first of the upsets. That was the Knights versus Raiders, McDonald Jones Stadium. The Raiders 28 over the Knights 12. Raiders 28, Hosking, Levi, Savage, Rapana, Young tries, Fogarty 4 from 6. The Knights 12, Frizzell and Hastings tries, Ponga 2 from 2. Mate, your thoughts on this one?
Pretty tight, mate. I've just got to address Stevie Williams, mate. It's not rum and Coke. It's just Coke Zero, mate, in a Warriors glass. Pretty tight. Mistake-riddled contest, I thought. Majority of the points come in that final 17 minutes. Raiders did show some heart, and they surprised me because I've tipped them to be bottom 4 this year. It was the first season opener at home that the Knights had lost in their past 10 games there opening the season. Hudson Young, he became the first player in season 2024 to be sin-binned. Late tackle on Kalen Ponga, which was an absolute joke. The Canberra defence and their kick chase game made it difficult for Kalen Ponga to get into the game, whilst his aging counterpart, Jordan Ruffiner, he wound the clock back. with his effort and involvement. I thought it was a Raiders big man, Papali'i and Tarpanay, who laid the platform, and Morgan Smithies, the Englishman, had an impressive NRL debut with the Raiders, game high 46 tackles.
And even though they won, Ricky still had something to say about the refs as well.
Of course he does.
That's not a surprise.
Speaking
of the Steelers in the 1980s, well, we had a 1980s scoreline in the second game of Friday night footy. That was the Storm against the Panthers at Amy Park. The Storm 8 over the Panthers 0. Remus Smith would try Meany 2 from 2. Panthers 0. Yeah, who saw that coming? How did you see this one?
The streak continues, mate. 22-0 for Craig Bellamy in season openers as Storm coach. Yeah, mate, despite the Panthers being reigning premiers, I wouldn't necessarily call this an upset as such. Penrith lost both the World Club Challenge in round 1 last season. And as I said, the Storm have that insane 22-0 record in season openers. So it's hardly an upset. I think any team that sees that they're playing the Storm in round 1 dreads that matchup because of that that streak. It's almost like the Undertaker at WrestleMania. The fact the Storm held the Panthers scoreless is probably the biggest surprise for me out of this game. First time since round 22 in 2022 that the Panthers have been held scoreless in a game. Coincidentally, that was also against Melbourne. Ryan Pappenhausen, he survived his first 80 minutes of the season. And the man who made way from him, moving from fullback to centre, Nick Meany, I thought was one of the Storm's best. He had a strong game in the centres with 167 run metres and 20 tackles.
Mate, they defended so well, the Storm.
They did.
We're going to have to throw a lot at them this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Saturday night was the Eels. We started with the Eels versus the Bulldogs at CommBank Stadium. Eels 26-8 winners. The Eels points, the Cardi Party getting a double. Harper and Simonson tries. We can't call Morgan Harper Reece Feldman anymore because he's cut off the perm.
I know.
So he's ruining it for us.
I know.
And Mitchell Moses 1 goal. Gutho 4 from 4. The Bulldogs 8 points. Wilson and Crichton tries. Burton none from 2. Did you get a chance to see this one, mate?
I did. Do you think Morgan Harper had a conversation with his missus and he said, these kids cost money. This yacht costs money. This firm costs money. And he had to just get rid of the firm. Is that
exactly.
What it
was? I'm sure that happened, yeah.
Yeah, mate, despite a complete roster turnaround, looks like it's going to be another year of disappointment for the Bulldogs. The Eels capitalised on a 40 from 44 set completion to starve the Dogs of any possession and real opportunity. Fastest man on the planet, Josh Addo-Carr. He didn't return for the second half due to an ACL injury, which has obviously kept him out this week. But as you said, it was a Cardi party at CommBank, mate, with a big man crossing for a double to open the season. He racked up 114 run metres, 44 post-contact metres, 4 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 6 offloads and 22 tackles. And I was reading a little article on him today, and he actually came out and said that he wished he had gone to Parramatta sooner in his career because he credits Brad Arthur for unlocking this version of the Cardi Party at Parramatta. So,
and he celebrated with a pash with Mitchell Moses as well.
He did too.
You've seen that screenshot? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very passionate moment, touching moment there on Saturday night.
It was.
The second game on Saturday night, geez, we talked this one up last week, didn't we? We were saying we just can't wait to watch this. Unfortunately, we were stuck consuming about 4 kilos of red meat while this game was on. So we didn't get to watch it live, but we did catch up on it. It was the Titans versus the Dragons at Shipper Stadium. And it was, wow. Brad, how good are your boys going? The Dragons, 28-4 winners over the Titans. Sloan with a hat trick. Flanagan and Lomax tries. Lomax 4 from 5. The Titans' lone points coming from Khan Pereira try. Mate, take us through this one.
Mate, it reminds you that scoreline, that result for the Dragon. It reminds you of, remember the mid 2010s when the Dragons would always win their first couple of games and everyone would call them the April Premiers.
May Premiers, yeah, that's it, yes.
Yeah, they're back. All the Dragons fans are lining up at Ticket Tech trying to get their grand final tickets now.
Getting the trophy engraved. They're already the engravers, yeah.
Brad Inger was so happy with this result. He was
pumped.
He was pumped. I do have a screenshot of something that he sent us over the weekend that I can always use as blackmail against him in years to come. Mate, the Shane Flanagan era at the Dragons, it's kicked off in style with Tyrell Sloan hat-trick silencing all the critics who tipped the Dragons for the spoon. Brad. Flanagan, he's got the Dragons playing a tough, gritty style of footy, not seen at the club since the days of Wayne Bennett. Brad. The Titans, well, it looks like Desi has some work to do with them. They were just blown off the park. They had an even share of possession, completed at 83%, but their attack was just ineffective. 52 tackles inside the Dragons' 20 and only one try to show for it. They certainly missed the experience of Kieran Four, and he was ruled out pre-game with a leg injury. Father Time starting to catch up with the veteran. My tip of my prediction of him not seeing out the season and retiring early, looking like it might come true. The big story out of this one, though, was probably Zach Lomax. Despite showing some resistance to playing on the wing and whinging like a big Sheila all through the off-season and talking about wanting to leave, mate, he may have second thoughts now with his 266 run meters, 106 post-contact meters, 2 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, and a try. He was good on the wing. You got to give it to Flano. He knows what he's doing there.
Yeah, we knew what Flano was going to bring. He was a tough, gritty coach his time at the Sharks, and he's obviously brought a bit of that with him. Tyrell Sloan, though, he is a real game breaker, real X-factor player, and if they're to have a strong season, he'll be right in the thick of it. I think he'll be up there with leading try scorer. Just got that raw speed you can't coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to Sunday. The only game on Sunday, that was the Dolphins versus the Cowboys at Suncorp Stadium. And it was a big win to the Cowboys, 43-18. Cowboys 43 points. Labert with a double. Dearden, Nanai Felt, Tuolangi and Lukey tries home 7 from 7. Townsend with the first half field goal. Dolphins 18. Flegler, Kerr and Bostock tries. Asako 3 from 3 goals. And Toddy Payton looking like Barry the Baptist after shaving off his beard.
He's looking like Clint Howard. Looks like Clint Howard.
Clint Howard. Sorry, Toddy. We love you, mate. Big, good friend of the show if you're watching. But yeah,
absolutely. If anyone doesn't know who Clint Howard was, Google Clint Howard. He's one of those
Ron Howard's brother.
Actors. He's one of those character actors that's been in like 300 movies. Never had a starring role, but he's always been a
I know that guy from somewhere. He's that guy from.
Guy.
He plays the waiter in this movie and the
go and look him up. And have a look at Todd Payton now with no beard. They're dead.
Oh, so weird, hey.
Yeah, mate. It was an almost flawless, dominant first half performance from the Cowboys. They ran in 5 tries to 2, set up a 31-12 halftime lead. Zach Labert showing his all class in just his 5th game in the top grade with a brilliant solo try and then a try assist in almost identical gameplay in that first half. Controversy in the second half with that penalty try awarded to him.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely became his 5th try in 5 NRL games. But if that's the standard of penalty tries,
we're going to be seeing a lot of penalty tries this year.
Ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Dolphins, they finished the game off with a try of the round, a long-range effort started by the Hammer and finished off by Jack Bostock. Mate, the Dolphins have some work to do with some ordinary attack options from their halves combo of O'Sullivan and Nicarima, 2 former Warriors who, when playing in the halves at the Warriors, kind of produced the same kind of shit that they're still doing at the Dolphins. Cowboys are just a 7-try dominant display to kick off the season. Cowboys fans, they're standing in line next to the Dragons fans for the grand final tickets at the moment.
Yeah, they're going to be fighting over that one.
Yeah.
And the Tigers, of course, had got the 2 points courtesy of the bye. And we'll go through the table now on the first place. Cowboys, Dragons in 2nd, Eels 3rd, Raiders 4th, Sea Eagles 5th, Roosters 6th, Storm in 7th, Sharks rounding out the 8th, Tigers 9th, thanks to the bye. I picked that they're going to stay there for the whole year, but as we know, what do I know? Warriors in 10th, Panthers 11th, Broncos 12th, Rabbitohs 13th, Knights 14th, and the Bulldogs 15th, Titans 16th, and last place is the Dolphins.
Yeah. There's some teams that are going to be heavily entrenched in that in that bottom 4, and I think the Dolphins and Titans are 2 of them.
Looking that way.
moving on to round 2, mate. Take us through the team that Webby's named for round 2 to play against the Storm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an unchanged starting lineup from last week, but we'll go through it. Tane Tuapiki at fullback, Dallin and Marcelo Montoya on the wings, Rocco Berry and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck in the centres, Luke Metcalf and Sean Johnson in the halves. The front row is Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan and Mitch Barnett. Jacko Ford, Kurt Capewell and Tohu Harris round out the run-on side. Freddie Lussick, Tom Arley, hopefully he gets on the field this time, Bunty Arfoa and Dylan Walker. The 4 players named on the bench. 18th man is Adam Pompey. Extended bench consists of Jazz, Tamate Martin, Ali Leatoa, and the only change overall is Chanel Harris-Tavita comes in the place of Jacob Laban. So obviously Egan and Capewell both named despite picking up injuries last week. And as I was discussing with you before we went live, I think the fact that Laban has dropped off the extended squad suggests that Capewell will probably play, but CHT being added, could that be that he gets added onto the bench as an extra dummy half option with Lussick moving into starting lineup? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. How do you see this team, and how do you see us matching up against the Storm on Saturday?
I think your thoughts there on Capewell playing and Egan not playing, I think they're right. Because all reports from people at training have been saying Egan's still not doing any contact. He's in the rehab group and he's wearing a pink bib, whereas Capewell's been training with the squad. Freddie Lussick has been running at 9. So, yeah, chances are Freddie Lussick starts. Egan will drop out and then maybe Chanel comes in onto the bench or Adam Pompey might. Yeah, or Jazz might come in. Adam Pompey might come in and be used as an edge back rower. He's got the size. So who knows? The interesting one with the Storm is that still no Cameron Munster, which is good. Still no Nelson Asafa Solomona because he does like to beat up our boys when he plays against them.
Breaking teeth. Yeah.
Yep. So those 2 are big outs. I still think the Storm spine with Pappenhausen, Hughes and Grant are a massive danger. Trent Liero, Eli Katoa playing great footy at the moment. I think where we have it over the Storm is our outside backs. I think our back 5, take Pappenhausen out of the equation.
Potent.
Yeah, I think our 2, 3, 4 and 5 are far more potent than what the Storm putting out. So I think that's where our strength is going to be, trying to get the ball wide to our space and speed out wide. Obviously,
it's where we've had success with them in the past as well.
Absolutely.
Like Dallin getting a couple of tries there last year. Cossie got a hat trick against them a couple of years ago as well. So that's where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big one's going to be just controlling the ball.
Yes.
We showed last week that we can control the ball, we can control possession and field position. And if we can do that against a Storm, it'll go a long way towards winning this game. I still think defense is going to be a key factor. And the fact that the Storm were able to hold the Panthers out for 80 minutes and not have a point scored against them is, something that can't be overlooked with them. Going to be a tough game. We've got to limit our mistakes, make sure that we have good discipline in both attack and defence. No, silly plays, work on our 5th play options. That crash play, barge play shit in the 20 metre zone around their line.
Won't work against Melbourne.
No, it will not work. We have to be better. We just have to, come with a lot of energy, a lot of intent. We haven't won in Melbourne for a long, long time. We haven't beaten Melbourne for a long, long time, let alone won in Melbourne. 2015 was the last time, was it, mate?
2015, the Nathan Friend somersault try was the last time we've beaten them.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what, 8 years ago.
9 years ago.
9 years ago. That's that's a long time. What are your thoughts, mate? Where do you think this game will be won?
Yeah, just following off of that, like the whole narrative used to be that we used to struggle, we used to trouble the Storm a little bit. Well, that's long gone. I mean, 9 years of misery. Back in the day, we did, and who knows? Maybe that is still the blueprint to challenging them. And I think it will be. Like, we just got to be a little bit more unpredictable with our attack. as
Yep.
we said before, get the ball out to the edges, use our speed, use some of the X factor that we have in the back line. Have to defend well, have to limit the time for Hughes and Pappenhausen and these guys. I mean, they carve us up any day of the week. This game will really show us where we're at, I feel. And I remember when the draw was first announced, I'm like, this is going to be a crucial game, this round two matchup in Melbourne. So I expect an improved performance. I'm gonna go Warriors by 1. I think it's going to be a tight contest, and I think, if it's tight, I think we can get the job done. Sean Johnson field goal.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot of points in it. I'm going to say Warriors by 2, and I think it'll be like a try to both teams, and we get a penalty goal that wins like an 8-6 scoreline or something like that. I think it's going to be really, really tight. I'm my multi last week, the one I gave last week was a bit of a shocker. What did I say last week? Warriors to win, Warriors 1-12, Tane and Roger try scorers. This week I'm going to go Warriors to win, Warriors 1-12. And I'm going to go try scorers, Nick Meaney for the Storm. And I will say Kurt Capewell for the Warriors. I think we'll get an edge.
Capewell.
Try on the edge. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my pick.
Hammer's good oil for the week, so take note. Malcolm was asking if there's any bets on a bounce back, so there you go. There you have it.
That's it. That's my bet. That's my bounce back bet, mate. Let's take a quick look at the remaining round 2 games and give our thoughts and opinions. Thursday night kicks off with the Broncos and the Rabbits at Suncorp Stadium. It's an unchanged 17 for the Broncos, with Brendan Piakura named to start despite having had to sit out the 11-day HIN stand-down protocol. The 11 days is up today, apparently. So because of that game in Vegas, was, even though it was Sunday for Australia, it was actually Saturday in America. So that's how he beats it.
Never ceases to amaze. Never ceases to amaze.
Just one change for the Rabbits. Jai Arrow ruled out indefinitely with a shoulder injury, I think it is. Tallis Duncan, he's named to replace him in the starting side, and Shaki Mitchell named on the bench. Mate, I'm going to say the Broncos' tale of woe continues. I'm going to pick the Rabbits in a close one.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go the Brisbane Reece Walshes to bounce back, and Reece Walsh to Reece Walsh. Did I mention Reece Walsh? I think he might be playing, and I think he might do Reece Walsh things. So,
okay. Forward passes and missed tackles? I hope so.
Yeah, he's been in America too long. It's gotten even worse. I'm going to go Brisbane by 12.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, first game on your Friday night footy is the Sharks versus the Bulldogs. That's at PointsBet Stadium, an unchanged 17 for the Sharkies. However, Toby Rudolph starts and Royce Hunt moving back to the bench. And for the Doggies, Josh Addo-Carr has been named on the extended bench as he races the clock. And Connor Tracy named to replace him on the wing. I expect the Sharks will continue their good form from last week. They, as we touched on, they defended really well and they stayed in the fight and got the Chockies there. And I expect that they'll have a fairly comfortable win over the Bulldogs. I'm going to say Sharks by 14.
Yeah, Sharks 13 plus. All reports are saying that this is kind of Matt Burton's last chance to impress as a half, and if not, he may end up finding himself in the centres with Stephen Crichton. So, interesting one. But yeah, definitely for me, Sharks 13 plus.
Okay, and an intriguing contest follows that. It's the Panthers versus the Eels at Bluebet Stadium. Normally, you'd say, "Oh, who wants to go and play in Penrith?" But Parramatta's recent record there has been very strong. For the Panthers, Mitch Kenny, he returns from 1-match suspension, and Scotty Sorensen returns from injury. No changes for the Eels, with Mitch Moses passing his fitness test, and he will line up for the Eels on Friday night. I do expect the Panthers to bounce back. I think it'll be a very close game. I'm going to go Penrith by 2.
Yeah, Penrith at home. I think they'll get the job done in this one. I think the Eels will be tough though.
I expect a tough game. Yep.
Yeah, but definitely Panthers by a couple in this one. Saturday, we kick off at GIO Stadium where the Raiders host the Tigers. The Tigers playing their first game of the 2024 season. They got those 2 points, and it's the only 2 points I'll get for a long time, I think, from that bye. Seb Chris, he returns from suspension. He's named in the centres. Albert Hobbawadi moves back to the wing. Nick Kotrick has been named 18th man. Couple of debutants for the Tigers. Solomona Fatape, I think that is how you pronounce that. He's named in the centres. Lachlan Galvin, he's named a partner, Jaden Sullivan, in the halves.
Controversially.
Yeah, pushing Aiden Caesar. He's been named on the bench. And Samuel Afenu, one of the Fainu brothers, has also been named on the bench to play. I think it's his debut game for the Tigers. For me, I'm going to say the Raiders at home. Raiders by 8.
I'm going to say Raiders by 18. I think it'll be close for a while, but I think they'll run away with it. They'll be too good at home.
Yeah. I've just had a question in the group chat. Says, do you guys think putting an offer to Terrell May would be a good idea for next year to replace Adam Fanua-Blake? I reckon Terrell May's a fantastic player, but one thing Terrell May has come out and said is that he wants to play with his brothers. So I think Terrell May, Taylor May, and Tyrone May will all end up at the one club, and chances are it'll probably be the Bulldogs, I think they're saying.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but yes, in answer to your question, yes. If I was to go after any front rowers in the game, obviously if you can't get Tarpanay and you can't get Payne Haas, then the two that I would look at would be Terrell May and Leo Thompson at the Knights. They'd be the two on my shopping list to replace Adam Fanua-Blake.
Your dream of having Tyrone May at the club, the fastest man. What did you call him? The snail?
The snail.
Oh, hey, yeah. Oh, look. Yeah, it's been widely sort of publicised that they want to be a package deal. I don't think those guys would leave Sydney.
No.
They're born and raised Western Sydney. It'd be great to have Terrell. He looks like a great player, but really don't think he'll come. I think we had more chance of getting Francis Molo. That was announced today, and he wouldn't be the worst. He wouldn't be the worst signing.
No, ex-Origin star. Ex-Origin star.
Yeah, and a few other things as well. But we won't go into that.
No.
Yeah.
But that's all the talk is Francis Molo at the moment. But yeah, Terrell May I think would be good.
He'd be great, but I can't see
Warriors,
it happening. Yeah.
The Warriors do have a no dickhead policy at the club now, so that would make getting Taylor May there pretty hard anyway. Terrell, yeah. But yeah. Next game on Saturday, Cowboys versus Knights at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Unsurprisingly, no changes for the Cowboys. For the Knights, Tom Jenkins is named on the wing for the injured Inari Tuala. Kai Pearce-Paul, the Englishman, is named to start in the back row. I think Dylan Lucas is out there, and Jed Cartwright has been named on the bench. Mate, I'm going to pick the Cowboys in this one at home. Cowboys by 10.
I think the Baptists men will get the job done again. Oh, yep. You're going to win. Clint Howard. No, look, I expect the Cowboys to have a big win there. Cowboys by 20.
Yeah, and the last game on Saturday is the game we've already previewed. Warriors versus Storm. You heard it from Rob. He says Warriors by 1. I say the Warriors by 2.
Okay, interesting. And Sunday footy is Seabold Sea Eagles up against the Roosters at 4 Pines Park. And there's just one change for Manly with Jason Saab ruled out for 6 weeks. Tommy Talau named to replace him on the wing. That's a big out for the Eagles.
Yep.
Probably because he got stuck on that treadmill.
Pulled his hammy.
Vegas. Yeah.
Yep.
For the Roosters, Dominic Young, he returns from injury to make his club debut. Jared Wira-Hargraves, he returns from suspension to play his 299th NRL game, and ironically is a direct replacement for Spencer Leniu, the man he had beef with last year, who copped an 8-match suspension for his racial slur. And surprise, surprise, I knew as soon as I read this, he is going to be back in time to play against the Warriors.
In round 10.
Yeah, this will be a interesting matchup. I'm going to stick with the Roosters. I was quite impressed with them in round 1. They looked a very sort of complete performance there. I'm going to say the Roosters by 6.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Roosters by about the same. Probably a try. There'll be a try in it. 6 points.
Okay.
Congratulations to the big man, JWH. He's going to get that one game closer to his 300, which he, barring suspensions, he probably should have played 2 years ago.
Exactly. Hey, remember I called it out in 2009. Remember that random post, Jared Hargraves, the next NRL superstar, and
Yeah,
it's only taken about 15 years, but here he is.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. The final game of your Sunday footy is the Dolphins versus the Dragons at KO Stadium. I will say KO Stadium, one of our favourite grounds to watch footy ever.
Yep.
Some great memories of going there to Redcliffe to watch our boys play. But Dolphins and the Dragons. So the Dolphins have lost Connolly Lemuelu to a knee injury, Ray Stone due to a failed HIA. Ewan Aitken and Max Platt, the new men in the starting 17. Zaya Katoa, named at halfback to replace Sean O'Sullivan. He's dropped to the extended bench, and just one change for the Dragons. Ben Murdoch-Masila makes way on the bench for the returning Luciano Leilua. Sorry, Brad. I am going to pick a big Dragons win. I think they can continue their run of form. I think they'll put the Dolphins to the sword. I'm thinking a 12, 14-point win.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm sure Brad tipped the Dragons this week. I just think, the Dolphins look a little bit lost, would probably be the best way to put it. They just had no spark in their attack, and I'm sure they'll get their mojo at some point, but I don't think it's going to be a turnaround. Brad's gone the Dolphins. Well, there you go. That's why you're not going to win your own tipping comp, mate.
I thought a couple of times last week Hammer looked really dangerous, but it looked like he was playing a bit of a lone hand, and he was trying a little bit too hard. He made a clean break and then put in a kick for himself rather than looking for the man on the inside. So a few kind of sort of worrying signs there already for the fins up.
And it is an aging roster that they've got at the Dolphins too. Like Jesse Bromwich is not a young man anymore. Felice Kafusi and Kenny Bromwich aren't young men anymore, and they're the guys that are kind of expected to do the hard yards for the Dolphins. They lost Tom Gilbert before the season started, who was going to be one of their forward leaders. So they're under the pump. I said last year their big thing was they had a lack of depth, and I think that's still their problem at the Dolphins this year. I think the Dragons look good. I said a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about teams that might surprise us this year, I said that the Dragons could be under Shane Flanagan. He'll get them a little bit harder. So, going to be interesting. Brad, Malcolm Earnshaw, are there any English big boppers? I don't think there are. I think a lot of the Englishmen now are edge back rowers. Morgan Smithies, Kai Pearce-Paul, Johnny Bateman. Who else is there from England? Elliot Whitehead. Not a lot of or outside backs like Dom
Ryan
Young and
Sutton.
Ryan Sutton's. Where's he at? Is he still here? Or is he gone?
I don't know that he's here anymore. I think he might have gone back. And then obviously the Burgess boys.
Yeah. Whenever Nicarima goes, the team turns to shit. Yeah, true. So I think I said Dragons. Dragons probably 13 plus, I'd say, in this one. What did you say, mate? Dragons?
Oh, I said Dragons by 14. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we'll see how our predictions pan out. Next week, we will be back with another of our head-to-head series.
Hopefully,
of interviews.
yes.
Yep. Very excited. We're going to be joined by Warrior 124, Nathan Feen. So we're not sure if it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday night, but whatever night it is, it'll be 6:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Daylight Savings Time, and 9:30 New Zealand Time. So if it's on the Wednesday night, we'll do the interview with Feeney, and then we'll just do a quick rundown of the results of round two. If he can join us on the Tuesday night, we'll probably do 2 shows next week. So just look out for our social media for advertisements for that. And of course, keep look out for any uploaded pre-recorded content on any vlogs throughout the season to our YouTube, Facebook and Instagram platforms, and some special Patreon-only content to our Patreon subscribers throughout the season also.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted about Feeney. I'm just waiting to hear back from him, and as soon as we know and we'll lock it in, you guys will know and be ready for what should be a very interesting chat next week, hopefully.
Yep.
Before we do wrap up for the night, I again want to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters, especially our Patreon supporters for your continued support. And a very special shout out, as always, to our gold tier Patreons, Alf Tuolave, Malcolm Earnshaw. Great to have you on the show tonight, Malcolm. Again, Chris Wellington, Nigel Phillips, Lisa Marie Bateman, Sean Whiskey was in there as well. Always good to have you on, Sean. And, of course, Ken Wills. And if you want to show your appreciation and support, you can head to our Patreon page to subscribe to our bronze tier general support level. Or we've got silver and gold, which includes support of merchandise as well and other benefits. So jump on there, jump on our Patreon site. The link is there on the screen and in our bio. We really do appreciate it. It goes a long way to covering all the costs that we do have associated with this show. And we love you, all you guys that are already on there in Patreon, of course. If merchandise is your thing, it's another great way that you can support us is to jump onto our Redbubble store. The link for that is also on your screen and again in our bio. You can pick yourself up some fantastic merchandise. There's plenty more designs coming in the following weeks. And we're going to have exclusive range of Ruined Hammer shirts honoring past legends, past and present legends of the club, as well as some great novelty prints reliving some of the most memorable moments in Warriors history.
Absolutely, mate. And I just want to give a shout out to someone who's just popped up in the chat thread, Ed Cossie. Good to see you back on the field, brother. Great to see you get a meat pie last week in that New South Wales Cup game, and hoping that you guys go well again this weekend in the New South Wales Cup. Yeah,
great
love
to
you,
see
brother.
You on there. Hope.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a legend, mate. Yep.
All right. On that note, that's it for tonight's show. Thank you all to all of you who continue to support Ruined Hammer. It's very much appreciated, and we'll see you all next week. Up the wires.
Up the wires. Thanks, guys. Take care.